The way that people learn guitar has vastly changed in the past decade. Every day, more people are choosing to learn online because you don't have to leave the comfort of your home. It saves you time, it saves you money, and you can stay in your pajamas. But what if you still wanted to be able to have the experience of learning or teaching guitar in person, but without the struggle of trying to figure out how you're showing what you are doing here on the guitar? Meet the sponsor of today's video, the OBSBOT Tail Air. So I was asked if I would like to try out this camera, and it got me thinking, how would I use a camera like this? It's marketed as a live streaming camera. It's perfect if you utilize platforms like YouTube Live or Twitch, anything like that. I don't do a ton of live streaming, but I was thinking, as a guitar teacher, would this be something that would be beneficial? And so I was just kind of thinking a little bit, because a lot of people learn online from resources like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. There's so many online resources, but there are people who also do one-on-one video call lessons on Skype, on Zoom. And I was thinking about when I used to teach lessons in the past with a video camera and the struggles that I used to have with that. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But what got me interested in trying out this camera was seeing if it could be a possibility for guitar teachers and students alike. So the biggest reason why I don't personally teach one-on-one virtual lessons like I used to in the past when I started my YouTube channel is because, one, internet connection can be a massive issue. One person on one side could have a great internet connection, and then on the other side, somebody's got just really low quality internet connection, and that can be an issue. The other thing that is really important for this is video and audio quality, especially, being musicians, you have to really be able to see and use your ears to, teach and learn. It's a thing on both sides, because the student has to be able to see and hear what the teacher's doing, and then vice versa to provide feedback. So it's like a whole loop. This whole thing has to work together. If the quality of the video and the audio is preventing you from being able to see the fretboard from what the other person is showing you, and you also can't hear really well, and it has that like tinny kind of just really distorted sound, it is a waste of your time and your money. Most webcams make it hard to show what your fretting hand is doing because it's so hard to get a proper close-up, and that is what is so important about these lessons here. So what is really cool about the OBSBOT Tail Air is that in the app that you connect to this camera, you can actually go back and forth and you can choose different frames that you want to use. So for example, I have this shot of me sitting with my guitar, and you can fully see me sitting in frame with my entire guitar. Now, when I want to be able to focus on my fretting hand, I can toggle over to this frame here, and it will close up on my fretting hand so you can see what I'm doing. And you can toggle back and forth between the two shots. And what's really neat about this is that the OBSBOT Tail Air will set up some default frames for you, that what it thinks that you'll want, but you can go in and you can edit them, and you can have multiple angles. You can toggle it and make it focus on the exact point that you need. And this is what I think is so neat about this camera for guitar lessons, is that you can really make these lessons dynamic as if it were truly in person. It's the closest you could probably get to that. And of course, keeping up with the times here, it has 4K video quality, and it has built-in AI tracking, which I think is an incredible feature, because a lot of computers that have built-in webcams, sometimes the webcam is just too high up, or it's in an awkward spot. My webcam is actually at the bottom of my screen, which is very weird and very awkward for video calls, so I hardly ever use it. And sometimes, depending on your laptop, you have to fold the screen down to be able to compensate for how you are sitting. And sometimes you're moving around in your lesson, and it could be really difficult for the other person to see what you are doing. So with the AI tracking, if you move around in your shot, the camera follows you. Like I mentioned, this is a live streaming camera, so if you do teach live lessons, this is perfect. So you can toggle back and forth between a full shot and a close-up shot. So you can really engage with your audience and make it dynamic and fun, so that way they can see your face, but also they can see the close-up on your guitar. Now, the only drawback that I will say is the audio. I feel like it leaves a lot lot to be desired. And I will say I'm picky about my audio because I am a content creator, so I always make sure that I have super clear audio. You can adjust the audio within the app. So there was this filter that was toggled on, and it basically filters out excess noise. So if you're in a noisy environment, if there's traffic passing by, if there's, you got noisy neighbors, it tries to filter out that stuff, but I feel like it really muffles the audio. And it was on the lowest setting, and I felt like it sounded very tinny and also very distorted. And I just don't think it's very conducive to a guitar lesson or really to any kind of live streaming at all. I feel like you can always get away with lower video quality as long as the audio is clear. And the audio here, just like I said, it's not the best. I would highly recommend toggling off the filter. The built-in microphone is passable, but I still think as someone who is a professional content creator / musician / guitar teacher, I would personally recommend using an external microphone just to get the better audio quality, because if I'm gonna live stream in front of people, I want them to be able to clearly hear what I'm saying and what I am playing, because I feel like it's such a turnoff to have bad audio quality. And that's something that I use with any camera that I use. Any camera that I'm using, whether it's my phone or whether it is my professional camera that I use here for YouTube, I have an external mic. I have a mic boomed above me right now that you cannot see, but I'm not using the onboard mic on my camera because it's way too far away and you would hear so many other noises. You would probably hear the wind that is outside of the window. I'm able to have my windows open right now because I have an external mic. So not knocking on the camera in general, because most cameras don't have great onboard mics to begin with, and plus there's just so many other variables that you can have in your environment that just make it noisy in the background. So for me, getting an external mic is always a must. It's not even a question. Now, another benefit about the OBSBOT Tail Air 2 is that while you are having a virtual one-on-one lesson with somebody, you can record it simultaneously and it will back it up into your phone on the app in like a little library video bank. The ability to record a lesson simultaneously while you are teaching that student is such a great, I feel like it's such a great sell, like if you're a guitar teacher, because you can market yourself as a teacher saying, I will record our lesson and then I will send it to you. I'll text it to you or email it to you. So that way they can have a copy of that lesson to refer back to. So when they're practicing during the week in between lessons, they have everything that you talked about, that you discussed and went over. And that's such a valuable resource. And I feel like that can make you stand out as a guitar teacher. I feel like sometimes as a teacher, it can be hard to keep students motivated between lessons, and the ability to record the lesson so they don't forget, what was practiced, or they can see your fretting hand, I feel like is so valuable. But also if you have this camera and you are the student, you can just record the lesson and then you have it for yourself to refer back to. Now, one last feature I want to touch on are the hand controls that you can use with the OBSBOT Tail Air 2. So for example, you can start and stop a recording by simply putting your hand up, and this is start and it is stop. So you can put your hand out to start the recording, and then when you want to stop, you just do the same hand signal. If you want to zoom in or out, you use the pinch and you just pinch like this, pinch out and pinch in. And what's nice is that feature is optional. You can just toggle it off if you don't want to use it, but some people might like to be able to just be hands off from the app. But I could also see why some people might want to have that turned off in case they, accidentally make a hand motion and then the camera starts doing stuff that they don't want it to do. So whether you are a guitar teacher or a student, I think this is a piece of gear to consider if you are taking virtual lessons or if you are a live streamer, because it's gonna make it so much more educational, enjoyable, and a lot smoother of an experience. You can find a link to the OBSBOT Tail Air in my description box, and I will catch you in the next one.